Well, good evening to everybody. I just want to thank you for taking time on a busy Sunday evening. My name is Scott Nelson, and I'm here in Spokane, Washington. This is Sunday evening, January 26, 2014. And I want to welcome people from all over the world that are joining us for this live presentation tonight. Now, this purpose of tonight's call, there are a number of reasons that we're extending this out. Normally, our presentations are about 30 minutes, and we specifically focus on the opportunity for people to protect their assets and increase their wealth generation. But we do have a lot of information on some of the global events that are happening. So we do want to cover that tonight. As you can look at this first slide, if you've been paying attention, and I'm not talking about the nightly news or CNBC or CNN or Fox. I'm talking about if you really are paying attention, then there is no doubt in any of our minds, for those of us who do have our eyes wide open, that we are in the middle, I believe, or the early stages of a global financial crisis. Many of the economic experts are classifying this as a massive global financial meltdown. The markets around the world are absolutely imploding. The stock market, even here in the US, is not immune to this, as the Dow average dropped just under 500 points in 1 week, actually 2 days, Thursday and Friday. It's going to be a very interesting week this week. Some of the experts say that the market could drop another 2 to 3,000 points this week. It's really going to come down to the Fed as they meet this week. If here in the U.S. the Fed meets and decides to start pumping hundreds of billions of fiat dollars, US dollars, back into the financial markets, the stock market, and the banks, and continue to short gold and silver, then of course that could help, I think, correct the stock market fairly quickly this week. But I would really encourage you to watch the stock market at least as a partial barometer of what might happen in the coming weeks around the world. You see, a lot of times we know that here in the US and Canada, really the economy has been imploding for a number of months. In fact, here in the US alone, the US dollar has lost over 97% of its purchasing power just since 1971, when the United States actually went off of the gold standard. So tonight, what I want to do is really to inform you on events that could directly affect you and your family in the areas of finances and assets, retirement, and job security in 2014 and beyond. I also want to share the information that I have acquired from highly reputable sources, experts in government operations, economics, world currencies, banking and financial markets, as well as financial services. And also included in this are a number of very highly biblically correct and accurate prophetic men and women of God that have been also kind of following what is written in the scriptures and lining it up here with what we're seeing. So this is not information that I'm sharing with you that I've written. I am not a prophet. I call myself just basically a conveyor of what information I gather. I have been following the market of currencies and gold and silver now for many, many years. And I don't get my information off of Fox News or ABC World News Tonight. This comes directly from highly reliable sources. And please don't shoot the messenger. I am just a watchman on the wall trying to bring out some solutions and some answers, along with reality of what's happening around the world right now. I want to help each of us to have a sound and simple plan to help prevent the loss of all personal assets, investments, retirement funds, pensions, 401ks, and of course, cash reserves. And hopefully, this information, if you haven't been paying real close attention, whether you agree or you do not, it's perfectly okay to just take the things that I'm going to share with you and then do your own research. I call it simply chewing the meat and spitting out the bones. I'm not telling you that I know any more than anybody else that's listening in here tonight that has also been doing their research. But we also want to convey and discuss with you safe and simple steps that are simply going to allow you to hedge against a complete global financial meltdown and economic collapse of not just the North American economy, but also the entire world's economy and monetary system. Now, hedging, if you've never heard that term, it just means that when I hedge against something like, let's say, I'm heavily invested in the stock market, which, by the way, I would not ever touch with a 10-foot pole because it's going to implode probably a lot sooner than later. But if I was in the market and I said, hey, I'm going to go ahead and hedge against this market, I would simply be buying insurance against the collapse of the financial system. And that's what we want you to understand. We're going to give you some simple solutions that are secure, that are easy to do, and they can also increase your net worth. And so we're going to discuss those tonight. So it's going to be a lengthy webinar, but we're thankful that you could take time to be here. We want to share what we're hearing and verifying from our experts. This information, of course, again, is not found on your nightly news or cable channels. I had a gentleman get pretty upset with some of my emails yesterday and wrote me back and he said, well, if all this was true, our government would let us know. And I can tell you this, the last thing that the US government, the Canadian government, the European government, the Asian governments, and any of the world financial governments or marketplace people are the last thing they're going to do is to let you know what the truth is. Okay. And the reason is just imagine if the government came out tomorrow here and they said, yeah, the US, we want you to know we no longer have any gold in Fort Knox. We are now $60 trillion in debt. We have no way of repaying. We're going to have to revalue or devalue the US dollar and the Canadian dollar, and we're going to have to seize all the mutual funds and all of the 401ks and pension funds, blah, 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 blah. Now, if the government did something like that, what do you think would happen? First, there'd be massive chaos. There would be a run on the banks. And so the reason I'm telling you this, even though that kind of sounds stupid, there are a lot of people that just don't believe that what is happening is really happening. Okay. But you yourself must take time to research what these people are saying. These are claims and they're potential events that will affect you and your family forever if you're not prepared for what is coming. But please take the time to sit down and start digging through the internet, start going to YouTube, start Googling different things like global financial crisis, global currency reset, seizure of gold and silver, things like this. These are things, and you can find tons of reputable financial experts and economists and world market experts that will actually share either in video or through writing, and you can verify these events for yourself. You can't just take what somebody tells you. So you're listening to me tonight, but I'm only taking what I believe in my heart to be absolutely true. Okay. But I've done my research every day. I spend 2 to 3 hours minimum. and I start reading, I start watching videos, and then I take those statements and I compare them with previous notes that I've taken. And I do the research and I investigate every statement that I hear, and I cross check it against a number of different reliable sources. You must take the time to investigate and research these statements. Please don't shoot the messenger. I'm only sharing what I have taken the time to find. Please chew the meat and spit out the bones, which means take the things that you know are true and try to separate them from the things that you don't believe are true and get rid of the things that are not. Okay? Truth has to be something that you are ready and willing to accept. And right now, truth actually is scaring people. I'm not here to be a fearmonger. Okay. You need to, if you're sharing this information with friends and relatives, you better be prepared to be criticized. As most people, I'm saying most people, when I say that, I'm talking about the 90% of the world are not ready for the truth, or they just don't want to believe that it could ever happen in your own country. But I do want to encourage you to be compassionate, kind, and gentle to these people in the midst of this criticism. People are afraid, they're scared, and anybody would be when they really truly understood that everybody on this webinar tonight, as long as every citizen of the world, stands to literally lose everything if they are not prepared for what is coming. Okay? Now, let's talk about some of the things about what's coming, things that I'm hearing, whether they do or they don't, or when they happen. If anybody tells you this is going to happen tomorrow, then they're probably lying, because there's only one person, as far as I know, that really understands and knows certainly when things are going to happen, because it happens to be God. And I believe that in his sovereignty, he's allowing things to happen so he can get our attention around the world, with the hope that every person that believes in God would come back to him in repentance. So we're talking now, and I've been following a major event that I believe is going to happen prior to the end of the first quarter of this year. And that event is called a global currency reset. That's a global currency reset. Any of you that get my email, I talk about this a lot. I call it a GCR. I believe from everything that I've heard and researched that this should happen before the end of this quarter. So that would be by March 31st, 2014. However, I do believe that we started to see this become more of a reality, as there have been 12 or 13 world currencies that have absolutely imploded over the last few weeks. And some feel that it could even happen this week. Okay. And I wanted to take a few minutes just to explain why there might be this global currency reset. I say might be because nobody knows for sure, but I certainly do believe it. It's because we can no longer control our debt. We cannot function here in the US and North America, in the European Union, and even in the Asian marketplace any longer under the current circumstances. And whenever you have a situation where the debt and the currency collapse and everything is totally out of control, not just in your own nation, but also around the world, there needs to be a global currency reset. It's only happened a couple of times, I believe, in the last 100 years, and not anywhere near what I'm hearing. This particular global currency reset is estimated that it could affect over 200 currencies in the world. And the purpose is to bring the currencies of these nations to within about 5% of one another. And when a global currency reset happens, normally all of the currencies involved will be brought within that 5% of one another. And normally, if you go into places like Cyprus and Argentina, Zimbabwe, Ireland, gosh, just to name a few, Portugal, Spain, goes on and on, Greece, Turkey just had or is getting ready to have a global reset because they're bankrupt. Uh, the way it normally happens is suddenly and without any notice, the banks will close down, and it could be in the middle of the afternoon, could be on Wednesday morning, and they're not going to say, "Hey, we're resetting all the currency," because that again would be alarming and send panic and fear all around the world. But you will not have access to any of your money in the bank. It will be frozen and locked. That's just the way it works. And you will have no access to any cash machines, nor will you be able to use your debit card. So, one of the things that you can do if you want to, and I highly recommend it in the preparation of this event, is to keep at least 1, 2, preferably even 3 months of cash on hand at your home. You better have something. You better also have some food and water. Just because if you get stuck, and let's say tomorrow morning you woke up and your bank was closed. Remember, in Cyprus, I think the banks were closed for either 14 or 18 days. Just imagine what type of a position you could be in if you didn't have any cash on hand for food, gasoline, water, or anything else you need, including groceries. If you had no money, the banks were closed for a week or two. And of course, the banks will say that it's a problem worldwide, or at least in the countries that are participating in the reset. And they will say that they've got computer issues, and they will advise and they will open back up as soon as possible. That's about the way that will look. Okay, and it could happen very, very soon because the more articles I read, in fact, I read one about an hour before we came on tonight, and it was talking, I think, about 12 or 13 countries that are in a major global currency issue right now. The debt, let's talk about part of what's going on here. Is the problem is the U.S. debt, the North American debt. We call it the U.S. debt because we have not formally become the North American Alliance, where we will become part of the same country. It's called actually the North American Union. If you haven't Googled that, you can go in and find out for yourself. The North American Treaty or Union was agreed back in 1992 by then President Bush Sr., along with Vicente Fox of Mexico. And I believe it was, I want to say Mulroney was the prime minister up in Canada, but I'm not absolutely sure about that. But you can go in and just Google at any time you want the North American Union. And anyways, but here in the U.S., the debt is, of course, just a major catastrophe. In fact, they're getting ready to raise the debt ceiling again this month. But currently, it stands at what the government tells us is $17 trillion. However, experts have come out now and say that's a complete lie. It's a fabrication. That 17 trillion is done on a cash accounting basis. The experts now believe that real debt, that number is near 60 trillion. 60 trillion. But there are some estimates that have the US debt alone right now at over $100 trillion. Now, if you took that amount of $60 trillion, not the 100 trillion, this amount of debt could never, ever be paid off, even if every working American citizen was paying 100% income tax. That's astonishing to me when I read that. This is why, one of the reasons, the main reason, that the world's economy is in such a bad shape because of the markets here. There's been a lot of American companies and, of course, the government printing the phony currency that has been investing overseas into what they call emerging markets. But now that these experts, this big money, is no longer available, and China and Japan and India and Russia are no longer buying any of the debt of the US. I mean, just look at China. They own over $2 trillion of the US debt. So they're no longer picking up any more of our treasury notes and treasury bills, which are nothing but worthless IOUs. And so we can't really print too much more funny money, the fiat currency. And the big investors, the banks and the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds, who have been investing trillions and trillions of dollars into the emerging markets, are now pulling out. And this is what they say was one of the main reasons that the market collapsed by just about 500 points off the Dow average on Thursday and Friday. Okay. Now, the global currency reset that we're talking about, as I said earlier, will involve, they're saying, over 200 world currencies. And the valuation, the new valuation on these world currencies are going to be based on the country's assets in commodities, okay, oil, rice, wheat, and precious metals. Okay. So basically, food, land, rice, wheat, oil, anything energy, anything food, and precious metals, probably the most important. Now, the US dollar is estimated or predicted, nobody knows for sure, that when this global currency reset goes down, you're going to be looking at a devalued dollar by about 30% because the US really owns nothing as far as its own assets, because China has really pretty much owned at least 10%, 15%, 20% of our debt. And so we don't really have any assets. And that's why the US dollar has always been the dollar, the reserve currency. It's no longer going to be, but it's going to be devalued, is what I'm hearing, pretty close to 30%. So, okay, people ask me this all the time. How can we hedge against that? Well, everybody's going to get affected to a certain extent, but here's what I would do. This is what we're doing is each month you know exactly what you have to pay out of your bank system. For instance, if you're paying a mortgage payment or a rent, it's probably being paid through your bank account. Stephanie and I don't have really any debt, so we're thankful, but we do pay our cable television, our electric bill through electronic banking. So each month we are only keeping enough in there to cover the rent check and our utility bills. Okay, everything else is exchanged into pure gold bullion. We don't buy any coins or silver or gold coins because we know that everybody's saying that those are going to be confiscated, anything that's minted. So we've been buying, and we'll talk about this in the second half of our presentation. But don't keep anything in the bank, okay, except what you absolutely need to. Because what's going to happen, let's just say that I have $20,000 in my savings at the bank, or 20,000 in my safety deposit box. If this happened, and let's just say it was 30%, that $20,000 that's in there when I went back when the bank did open up would be worth $14,000. You would have just lost $6,000 in this global currency reset. World currencies, as I said earlier, will be brought to within about 5% of the value of each other. And the four currencies that are expected to gain the most, even though the last one is not even allowed to be traded on the open market yet, but let's just talk about the three biggest gainers in value should be the Zimbabwe dollar, the Vietnam dong, and the Indonesian. I don't know if it's a rupee or whatever, but it's the currency of Indonesia. And the fourth country that we're watching is Iraq, but that is not a approved currency to be traded yet. That has not, it is not yet appearing on the world market, but that is also one of the currencies that you can expect to revalue, not so much go through a global reset. The Zimbabwe dollar, the Vietnam dong, and the Indonesia currency should benefit the most with the biggest gain in this global currency reset. Okay. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the World Banks are now demanding that the U.S. debt be brought down to pre 2007 levels, which I believe to be around $5 trillion. So they're really, really demanding that the U.S. Reduce their so-called 17 trillion down to 5 trillion in 2014. And there's no way that this could happen. We just don't have the money to do that. So now what is coming up here is the seizure, which has happened many times. It just happened actually in Ireland and Argentina and Zimbabwe and Cyprus. Not only did they go in and rob people's banks accounts, but they seized private, public, federal, and state pension funds and 401ks. And this has happened in over 11 countries in just the last 10 years. So people say, well, what about my retirement funds? Well, I would tell you that your retirement funds, you need to do everything you can to liquidate your retirement funds. I've had a lot of questions and I can't tell you what to do. I'm not looking to be your financial advisor, but here's a really good example. Lady contacted me yesterday, I think, or Friday, and she said she had a retirement 401k that was worth about $212,000, and she wanted to turn that into gold. And then when she called to do it, she said there was a heavy penalty. And I said, well, you'll have to make up your own mind. Let's just say there was a 30% penalty. You would be obviously losing about obviously a little over a quarter of your retirement. However, if there was no 401k, because all 401ks, of course, are linked to the market, the stock market, and the stock market in the bubble that we're in right now, and I believe the soon coming implosion of that market would wipe out all of the 401ks. So would you rather bite the bullet and go through the agony of losing 25 to 30% now and knowing that the other 70 or 75% was safe because you moved it into gold bullion? That to me is a pretty easy decision, and I could never, ever say that I could make that. But if you've got money sitting around in pensions, I don't care if you're a school teacher, private, public, federal, state, 401ks, please, please be aware and do your research on this one particular point. Okay? Be aware. We talk about gold and silver. That's the big talk. As I've shared before, you want only one kind of gold and silver, and that is anything that is not minted, anything that does not bear any mint name. Okay. Some people say that there is one safe currency, gold and silver coin that may not be open for confiscation. I don't believe it, but it's called numismatic. It's a high level, perfect, like an MS 70, MS 69 type coin. It's a collector, high valued coin. There's a premium on those coins. Not many people that have gold and silver collect them. But if you've got bars in silver or gold that have any of the world mints, doesn't have to be the US, could be Canada, like the maple leaf, it could be Europe, like the Austrian Philharmonic, or South African. I can't remember what they call it down there, but in Australia, it's the Krugerrand and things like that. Highly susceptible to confiscation. The government actually will create a lie, which will say they own it because their name's on it, and they have registration from all of the people that sell the coins that are registered to you, and they will come after you if you don't believe me. They did that along. Even they tried to do it with bullion back in 1930, 31, and 32 with President Roosevelt. And they were fining people $10,000, and there was mandatory 10-year prison terms. So don't think for a moment that that couldn't happen in your country. So the best thing to do is to get into private pure gold, 24 karat, not coins, but pure gold currency. Okay, it's now being accepted. We'll talk a little bit about a great option for you here in just a minute. And you can get that in small increments. If you're going to buy gold or silver bullion, make sure it's 24 karat gold, that it's London bullion or PAMP Swiss gold that is hologrammed and certified, and you should never get more than 1 gram, 2.5 gram, 5 gram, or 10 gram increments, because gold and silver is expected to explode in these next several years. And if you're walking around with bars of gold or 1 ounce coins, and let's just say gold goes to $5 to $10 to $15,000 an ounce, and there is no U.S. currency, you're going to walk in to a grocery store and spend a couple of $300 on groceries, and you want to try to pay with a gold coin that's worth $2 or $3 or $4 or $5, $6,000. It's not going to be a very pretty sight. There'll be no change. They'll be happy to take your gold coin if they're even available. So I really do recommend 1 gram, 2.5 gram, 5 gram, or 10 gram pure gold, 24 gram, nothing minted. It's got to come from private mines, private refineries. Same thing with silver. Now you can get silver in 1 gram and 10 gram little bars. Make sure you get it where it's not minted by any government, and you should be safe. You should be, okay? Now, pure gold, 24 karat gold. Um, the difference between that and coins, just so you know, is 24 karat is 999.9 pure gold. When you look at the silver eagles or the gold American eagles or Krugerrands, they are about 70 to 75%. So when they're melted down, you're not going to get spot gold price on those coins. If they do that, you'll find that they'll take pure gold weight, which if it's coins is about 70 to 75%. Okay. However, the good news is gold is expected by most of the trenders and experts out there to reach levels of between $2,500 to $5,000 per troy ounce in 2014, 2015, and upwards to $50,000 per troy ounce on gold prior to 2020 is what people like Gerald Celente and Jim Sinclair say. And the reason for that incredible spike and that surge in gold is because at the current rates that they're mining right now, literally there is only enough physical gold in the earth to mine at the rate they're currently doing through 2017. People ask me right now, why is gold at 1,200 or 1,300 an ounce? Because it's phony fiat currency. The government is pouring in what they call naked short orders to try to keep the price of gold suppressed. Although we believe that with the global financial or currency reset and with what's coming very soon, the only way you'll be able to trade any gold is going to be physical trading. And that's what emancipated gold is. Okay. Now, the North American Union, which is Canada, the United States, and Mexico, and other world powers, China, Russia, Japan, can no longer make their economic systems work due to their debt loads. And these seemingly cannot be fixed. China has announced that it will be going back on the gold standard, and very soon it's indicated that there'll be 10 new world regional currencies. The North American Union, there'll be the Asian currency, something over in Europe and New Zealand and Australia and different parts, Africa. They'll all have a new global currency when this happens, okay? And so China is going to be going back onto the gold standard. When we go to these new 10 world currencies, they will be gold backed, most likely. Okay, just in case if you haven't been paying attention, another thing you can do is go and Google BRICS nations. That's BRICS. BRICS, BRICS nations. They're no longer buying U.S. debt, no T bills, no T notes, nor are they trading amongst each other any longer in US dollars, which has been for many, many years the world's reserve currency. So you might ask yourself if these nations, by the way, BRICS nations are the following: Britain, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Or I'm sorry, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. They make up the BRICS nations. They signed agreements several years ago that they were going to move away completely from the US dollar. Now I see that China and Russia and some other countries are now going to be trading not in the petrodollar anymore with Saudi Arabia, but in the actual gold itself. So this is really exciting news. And these are just signs that you should be seeing happening all around. Interest rates here in North America have now jumped almost 2% in the last 11 months, and they're expected to reach levels of around 8% by 2014, 2015. Now, as soon as the Fed, and they're meeting this week, so beware, they say once they formally announce that interest rates are going up, the cost of money is going up for those of you that have money in pensions, in retirement funds, IRAs, it will be too late to get your money out. And the reason I say that is you call up tomorrow and you ask the people that have your IRA or the people that have your pension or 401k how quickly they can get a check out to you. And I believe most of them are going to tell you 2 to 4 weeks, and it will be too late to avoid this tragic loss that we believe is coming very quickly. Quantitative easing, which we call QE. We've had QE1, QE2, QE3. It's said to be they're tapering back. As long as there's nobody to buy the debt, this is the only way that we can do things. We got to stop printing that worthless paper currency, the US dollar. They call it fiat currency. And if this happens, if they do not continue to print phony money, and like I said, watch the meeting, watch the announcements with the Fed this week, and you'll find out this new gal that took over for Bernanke. This is her first week, and it's going to be very interesting. But her plan is to continue to taper the printing of money, and the reason is nobody wants it. It's not worth anything. And if this continues to happen, the stock market, the Dow average, is estimated that it could drop down to levels of between 4,000 and 5,000, which currently is, I think we're at around 15,800 after last week on Thursday and Friday when it dropped nearly 500 points. And this, they say, experts say, could, if it hit that big of a drop, that you would be looking at a wipeout of about 99% of all individuals' stocks and 401k funds. You remember back in 1997, 1998, it was a big one. 2007, 2008, it happened again. And just those two wiped out around 60% of all people that were in the market at that time. So if you saw a drop of, let's say, 10,000 points, they say it would just about devastate everybody that has stocks and 401ks. Okay, before we go into our presentation on the solution, we believe a great solution, I wanted to make these statements. These statements that I've made are not my own, and they have been accumulated from hundreds of hours of research and data gathered by myself from hundreds and hundreds of experts. People like Donald Trump and Warren Buffett, George Soros, Lindsey Williams, Gerald Celente, Mike Maloney, Bill Gates, former assistant U.S. Treasury Secretary and author of President Reagan's economic reform plan called Reaganomics, Mr. Paul Craig Roberts, Paul McGuire, Peter Schiff, Mike Maloney, Robert Kiyosaki, and many more. Now, I know that many of you and millions around the world are very concerned and quite scared with what is now happening at a quickening pace. And they may choose to become withdrawn, go into deep depression, or become very angry at receiving this news. Please understand that I can completely relate to the way that you or others might feel. There is, however, a way to face your fear with confidence and bold determination, and that is through two things: understanding through research and preparation. The greatest mistake that millions, I mean millions of people are making right now is by not preparing. They're just not prepared. Or these people are making a huge mistake by ignoring and even mocking and laughing at these warnings as you being or me being a conspiracy theorist. I've been called that, a fear monger. Okay. These are the things that you're going to hear. Okay. And these warnings are out there, and these warnings can be verified by anybody that wants to take the time to do so. Okay. I've been called to do two things in the season of my life, and that is to warn and provide a better, to warn people about this, and then provide a better and safer way to prepare for what we believe is already upon us. But we are optimistic and happy to report that I believe, and many of the experts believe, that we have a very small, short window of time to prepare. The next portion of this live event is to show you a simple, safe, and effective way that you might want to consider as a way to increasing your assets and revenues, and at the same time, protect, as we call hedge, against the soon coming global financial collapse that appears that to be gaining speed as it approaches all of the world and affects their economies. Please take the next 20 minutes to enjoy this PowerPoint presentation. And at the conclusion, please feel free to email me with any questions or comments that you may have. And that address that you can email is Spokane goldrush at gmail.com. And that's spelled Spokane is S, P as in Paul, O, K, A, N as in Nebraska, E as in Edward, gold rush at gmail.com, or get back, obviously, to the person who invited you to this presentation. And they will be more than happy. I want to introduce you now to a company that has been a blessing to us, and it's called Carrotbars International. Carrotbars International is a company that has been around since 2007, and it was called KB Gold at that point in time and was relabeled Carrotbars International back in 2011 because they are now an international company, highly respected and recognized all over the world, doing business in 111 countries of the world and offices in 12 different countries of the world. Okay. What we want to talk about is an opportunity that doesn't cost you anything because Carrot Bars offers free memberships to all people in every country of the world where they do business. There's a couple of different ways, actually three different ways that you can join Carrot Bars. The first way is as a customer. As a customer, you just sign up, register for the customer membership. It's free. There's no monthly requirement. There's no website fee. You'll be given a nice website. You'll be required to submit some what we call KYC documents so they can verify that you're not a terrorist or a money launderer. But besides that, there's really nothing else for you to do except just purchase pure 24 karat LBMI or LBMA London Bullion gold. It's 999.9% pure. and you can purchase this gold at any time and in any amount you want. Okay, it's a safe and sane way to protect yourself from the implosion of the US dollar. There are a lot of people that like the idea of not only being able to buy their gold from Carrotbars, but because this is becoming such a huge issue now with the decline of the US dollar and other world currencies, especially now with the upcoming rumored global currency reset and the devaluation of so many of the world's major currencies, that this presents a beautiful opportunity to protect by trading and exchanging your depreciating currency into a far superior currency. But as a free affiliate of Carrotbars, you'll probably have family members and children and grandchildren and other people that you love that you might want to also tell about Carrotbars. And by becoming a free affiliate, you'll be able to receive commissions every time anybody that you refer purchases gold. And this is very helpful because it will allow you to accumulate some free perpetual gold. Now, when I say free, what I mean is if I am referring friends and family, and let's say I'm earning an extra couple $100 a month, I might choose to take that $200 in extra income that I didn't have and continue to exchange that into pure gold also. And then what we want to focus on is for those of you that might have a real desire to speed up the process. And we are going to show you a very short PowerPoint here that is going to show you how you could, in as little as 12 weeks of focused energy, that's 90 days, be receiving a minimum of $4,500 per week in cash or gold, whatever way you want to get paid. It's up to you. With Carrotbars. And I can tell you it's a very powerful concept, but Carrotbars has been a blessing for Stephanie and myself because we've been able to use it in just the last about the last 7 weeks, and we have now earned close to $3,000 in free gold, not to mention quite a bit of extra cash. So this is the three options that you can take a look at. What I'm going to focus on here for the next 10 minutes, because we want to keep our commitment to get off of this within 1 hour. And so we've been on here about 45 minutes. We're going to run through these slides very quickly. Now, I did want to let you know that obviously the money that you receive and the free gold that you receive is all based on a simple mathematical equation, and it's fully dependent upon your activity and with the people that you choose to work with. If you like what you see with this 12-week plan, is what I call it, I can tell you that I have been working with a group of our upline leaders using a incredible advertising co-op program where you can purchase shares and enjoy people that are actually contacting you wanting to find out more about exchanging out of the US dollar, Canadian dollars, euros, and other currencies of the world, and having a way to provide not just asset protection, but also enjoy tremendous wealth appreciation. We're going to show you a business model that promotes and encourages and rewards you for saving. This 12-week plan that we're going to show you creates this power through compounding and leverage. Like I said, the company known as Carrotbars International is now almost 4 years old. Prior to that, in 2007, it was founded as KB Gold. But Harold Seitz, our CEO and founder, had so many people back in 2007 that were saying, we need small, affordable weights of gold so the average person like you and I could, on a regular basis, start a gold savings program where we could get small, affordable weights. So back in 2011, we were the first privately owned company that owns its own gold mines and own refinery. So you're safe and secure from government seizure. And he started to create 1 gram carats, which sell for about 60 to 65 US dollars. So everybody could afford it. Now, because of the popularity of the company and this concept, they are now pouring three different sizes, which are 1 gram, 2.5 gram, and 5 gram. And of course, it just depends on what you want. But this is a very unique concept because it's actually a concept that rewards you and I for saving and not spending our money through the affiliate rewards program. Okay. Now, excuse me, four timeless principles. Of course, it talks about the movement of money, establishes the marketplace. How often you move money will determine the health of your financial situation. And the system is in place now for you to capture a piece every time you move money and your team moves money. And the wonderful thing and the most important thing about these four timeless principles is learning to pay yourself correctly every time you have money. That's the secret of the rich. Every time people get paid, money moves. When they spend it, when they go to the cash machine, when they go shopping, or when they save, money moves. Isn't it cool to know that you can get paid every time money moves? And velocity only means that you can control the earning power of this money movement based on the way that you choose to do business. You can look like the stagnant pond on the left or the rapid white raging river on the right when you learn to control your earning power. Okay? The secrets of the rich, the wealthy, they have a system to capture a piece every time money moves. Secondly, they know how to pay themselves correctly. Did you know that 5%, the elite of the world, control 95% of the wealth? Okay. Now, would you be willing to learn three simple mathematical and I should say a mathematical equation and introducing three new skills that could generate compensation that is beyond most people's wildest dreams. Okay. With the Carrotbars 12-week program, you can earn money that you have only, for most people, have only dreamt of. And some of you haven't even dreamt of it. Incomes that start at around $15,000 a month, all the way up to $136,000. I mean, that's amazing money. And the cool thing is, it doesn't matter what the price of gold is. It doesn't matter whether it's 20 per gram or 200 per gram. The income that you can earn with Carrotbars is amazing. And remember, don't worry about the 12 weeks if you move a little slower through our co-op, where maybe it takes you 2 weeks to find those two people that want to do exactly what you're doing. It's just a matter of getting to these levels of income. Maybe it doesn't take you 12 weeks. Maybe it takes you 24 weeks or 52 weeks. It doesn't make any difference because you're going to earn money every step of the way. This program is a focused 3-month program. It requires 90 days of high intensity burst of energy and effort that will indeed change your life if you apply it to what you're doing. It's a 3-step action plan, and it requires these 3 steps. Now remember, don't forget that I told you early on that if you just want to be a free customer or a free affiliate, this is not what we're talking about here. This is for people that want to supercharge their earnings so that they can acquire a much higher level of asset protection and wealth generation in a very short period of time. And if that's you, pay close attention for these last 5 minutes of this presentation. You're going to be required to select and acquire a one-time business marketing package. That's your first step. Secondly, you're going to start your gold savings account. You're going to learn the correct way to save and move money. You're simply going to exchange, swap, or trade your paper money each week into real superior currency, which is 24 karat gold money, safely, securely, and something that the government cannot touch. Find 2 others in step number 3 through your own connections, but most of you that want to do this will gladly plug in to our advertising co-op, which will generate you as many people as you need to talk to find just those two others. And then you just commit to those two others to help them to do exactly the same thing. And the results are absolutely unbelievable. And as far as I'm concerned, unmatchable with anything else in the industry today. Okay. Um, Using the power of compounding, don't want to dwell too much here, but look at what happens if you were to take 1 penny and double it every day for 31 days. At the end of 31 days, you'd have over $10 million. So if you ever doubt that the principles of compounding and leverage don't work, I've got another thing for you to learn. Okay, simply follow this system. If you're going to do this 12-week plan, you'll obviously enroll as a free affiliate. You'll want to get to the person that invited you to the presentation and talk with them, ask your questions. If I invited you, you've got my email and probably my phone number. If somebody else invited you, obviously you want to get back to them and they'll get your questions answered. We are working as a team. In just the last 7 weeks, we've grown now to about 250 members, and we're exploding in growth with Carrotbars. There's 5 different package choices for as little as $135 one time. That these are one-time fees. It just depends on whether you want a bronze, a silver, a gold, a VIP, or an exclusive VIP. What this package is going to do is do 2 things. It's going to unlock the keys to your financial freedom, and it's also going to determine how much income you want to make using this Carrotbars 3-step system. And of course, step 3 is to start immediately by paying yourself 1 gram minimum of gold every week. You're simply going to exchange your dying, decaying US dollars, Canadian dollars, euros, or what else into real 24 karat gold currency. And of course, in your first week, if possible, and if not, don't worry if it takes you a week or 2 or 3, using the advertising co-op that we put in place for all of our team members, everybody does the same thing. And one time, just find those 2 serious-minded people and then work with those. And if this continues throughout that 90 days or whatever period of time, the income is staggering. Here you can see that if you choose to join as the bronze digital package at $135 one time, you can see that at week 12, if everybody did what they were supposed to do in this perfect scenario, this mathematical equation, you would be earning a minimum of $4,485 per week. You can see it goes up with the silver package, which is $350, all the way up to $17,250, about almost 4 times the income level that the bronze package offers. Your gold package, it jumps up even further, as you can see, and then up to the VIP, the $2,000 package, which jumps all the way up to $34,500 per week. That's by far our most popular. If you decide you want to start as a VIP, you can use the coupon that you will be given by the person that enrolls you, and that will be worth 100 euro, which will be about $135 discount for you to be able to enjoy your VIP package. Once I said all of the accounts to get started as a customer or a free affiliate, never a charge. You'll have a sound savings plan and a system to do it with. Remember, the aha moment comes when you realize, hey, I'm just exchanging worthless, decaying fiat currency in my left pocket and putting real sound, superior gold currency into my right pocket. So what you want to do now is simply get back to the person that invited you and enroll. Then you'll select the package, which will open the keys to the vault, excuse me, the vault, and then you'll start to save a minimum of 1 gram each week. And in 4 to 6 weeks, by the way, your gold, that weekly savings account, will grow bigger and bigger, and you'll no longer be reaching in looking for those decaying, depreciating US dollars, because through our automatic savings plan with Carrotbars, you're going to be earning enough where your gold is now free. That is exciting. And getting paid is simple because we'll give all of our members the impressive MasterCard money card. It was voted the design of the year over in Europe. And every week on Friday, you'll get paid when you have commissions be loaded right onto your Carrotbars. And very soon, you'll be able to, if you want, don't have to worry about using any of those depreciating currencies we talked about tonight, because starting sometime this year, you'll actually be able to start taking your pay in pure gold. Okay, so let's just review to finish up our evening presentation. For the first money movement activity, this is after your free enrollment, then you acquire one of these 5 packages. Remember, your package that you start with, it's a one-time purchase. It determines your compensation level. And remember that, let's say you start as a silver and you want to upgrade to a higher commission level as you start to earn. There are plenty of opportunities. There's no time frame, no time limit. You can upgrade at any time from one package to a higher level package, which will obviously offer you a higher income level. Your second movement activity will be that savings. This is the key, learning to pay yourself correctly through the system by acquiring a minimum of 1 gram of pure LBMA, a SAID 999.9 pure gold. And the third is very simple, simply inviting 2 others to do exactly what you did. And this is what we accomplish. If you don't know a couple of very serious people, don't worry. We'll get you plugged in with our advertising co-op and we'll get you started right away. This plan works perfectly if you team up with just 2 others and work with them, because if you do, they will do exactly what you do. And everybody doing the same thing simply is absolutely mind-boggling. You'll move money and gold into your savings each and every day. One of the great websites you might want to jot down that you can go get more information now that we're at the conclusion of our presentation is carrotbarstv.com. That's carrotbars TV, like television.com. Write that website down. It's got tons of information about the 7 different ways that you get paid through Carrotbars as a dual compensation member, along with recorded webinars and training. If you want to listen into a live webinar 7 days a week, twice a day at 12 noon Eastern Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, there's a live webinar 7 nights a week, and that can be found at carrotbarstv.com. Results are amazing for people that are putting that 12-week burst of energy. They're noticing record-breaking growth, record-breaking sales, and of course, naturally, record-breaking income. I want to encourage you to get in, get started, and commit yourself for a minimum of 12 weeks, 90 days. And in just 12 weeks, you can be free, not just 12 weeks older. I want to thank you so much for taking time to be here tonight. It's meant so much for me to be your presenter, and we want to help you in any way that we possibly can. Please, if you have any questions, just email those back to me at spokanegoldrush@gmail.com. If you were invited here by somebody else, then get over to obviously get back with that person and they can help you get started right away. Lives are changing so rapidly, and with all of the things that we covered tonight, I hope that at the very worst, your eyes have been opened up, regardless of whether you choose to be involved with Carrotbars or not. But be prepared, do your research, and take the steps and prepare to protect you and your family for what we believe is happening right now. Thanks again. God bless you, and have a good evening.